This meeting, nope. You got the city computer there? You have a city computer? There's a switch on the side that you can shut it off. All right. Try again. You gonna go for a third time? All right, this public meeting of the city council is recorded on Zoom.
It was my fault now. I was pretending. That's why I'm not an IT person.
All right, I guess this public meeting of the city council is recorded on Zoom with a link that is posted on the agenda. If you are calling in on a phone, you may press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or device, there is a raised hand button that you can tap to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications and public hearings to be recognized to speak. If technical difficulties arise and the Zoom link is interrupted during an in-person hybrid meeting of the city council and a quorum is present, the meeting may continue after efforts have been made to reestablish the link. The minutes shall note the interruption. It is the finding of the City of Gloucester that no individual should be denied equal treatment or opportunity because of their age, ancestry, color, disability, including intellectual and developmental mental disability, family status, immigration status, gender identity or expression, military status, marital status, national origin, race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. This evening we have Ward 2 Councilor Dylan Benson. We have Ward 3 Councilor Marjorie Grace. We have Ward 1 Councilor Scott Memart, Councilor at Large Patty Ann Page, Councilor at Large Hannah Kimberly, Councilor at Large Jason Groh, Ward 5 and Council Vice President Sean Nolan, and I am Tony Gross, Council President and Councilor at Large. This evening we have, to the left of me is our City Clerk, Grace Poirier. We also have our Chief Administrative Officer, Kelly Dolan. We have our Assistant Fire Chief, Nick Ouellette. We have Kenny Costa, our City Auditor, is remote. And we have Connor McCorkle, our CFO. And also from the school committee, we have Bill Melvin and Andrea Liakos. And we have Mike Hale, DPW Director, and Jenny Benedict from Director of the Library. Anybody else I missed? That's it. And Councilor Majota had a conflict this evening and is not with us. All right, we will have the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Oral communications.
The public shall have the opportunity at every regularly scheduled meeting to be heard under oral communications on matters not appearing on the agenda. Oral communication shall allow any resident and/or property owner and/or business owner who has a request or complaint of any nature relative to city business to appear before the council, make their statement without debate, and the city council refer matters to the office of the mayor. Persons speaking under oral communication shall be limited to 3 minutes each. Before we begin oral communications, I just wanted to announce that tonight we are postponing a public hearing in case anyone's here, and it is we're postponing Deacon Farm as being taken as a public way, and we are postponing, oh, it's not on here, we're also postponing the Two Beach Lane parking. No implied we're having tonight. So 2 Beachland Avenue for an outdoor parking permit. So if you're here for that this evening, that's being referred back to P&D and the, what was the other one? Sorry, folks. Oh, the Deacon Farm Lane, that had to go back to legal, so. Oral communications. Anyone who wishes to speak, please come up to the microphone.
Hello, David Enos, 2 Haskell Court. Over the last several years, something has come out that's strikingly noticeable, and it's the percentage of the city budget overall that goes into the school department. Last year's school budget has been reduced to 32% of the total municipal budget. And whatever that is, it is, but what's important to look at here is our surrounding communities and also including the 25 schools that the Massachusetts Department of Education compares us with. We are 3rd from the bottom of the list for the percent of the city budget that goes into funding the schools. The only schools lower than us are Somerville, which has a very large commercial tax base, and their budget is way beyond what we could even imagine, and Dennis, who has a sweetheart deal with Yarmouth that they're not paying a lot of their budget towards schools. It's interesting to note that the next school above us on the list, which would be number 17, is Medford at 39.1% compared to Gloucester's 32.5%. Above Medford is Salem at 42.6%, and it continues on the way up. Almost all schools are putting at least 10% more of their municipal budget into the schools, cities and towns, that is. And looking at some of the numbers from the Massachusetts Division of Local Services, it's a department of the Department of Revenue, and these are numbers that have been reported by the city of Gloucester to the state. And one of the things that we show here is that we are expected I'm sorry, let me just go straight to the budget. Page 18 of the budget that's been posted online shows an expected increase just shy of $10 million for fiscal year 2027. Proposing that the school department could only have $1 million isn't even close to the 30% of the total city budget that increase could be going to. Page 22 says that there will be no change in the number of positions in the city schools. It says 700 whatever, and it says change 0. Yet the newspaper is filled with articles, and everyone knows that we're looking at the loss of 20 positions at the school system. And page 28 shows the stabilization fund having $17.8 million. I think that you need to take another look at where these funds are going. I haven't seen anything in the newspaper of any other department in the city that's being cut, and we're balancing the city's budget on the school department. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bill Melvin, 461 Western Ave, also Vice Chair of the Gloucester School Committee. Today in our city, over 2,800 students walked through the doors of our 7 schools. Of those students, a little more than 300 stepped into a classroom utilizing English as a second language. 24%, or over 670 of our learners, got off the bus or out of their parents' car with a documented and verified learning disability. And a mere 62%, or over 1,700 students, arrived having come from a high-needs environment, meaning they have a learning disability, their home might be receiving social services, or possibly something even more arduous than that. Tonight, those students and their families can count on $0 extra to enhance what our educators can create to better all of their educational outcomes. They can count on $0 to fulfill the contractual obligations that we've made. What they can count on is simply enough money to cover the rise of health insurance costs for our educators and staff. This from a city that is looking to practice collaboration with our education professionals, remembering always that our commitment is to the success of our students. Council, as I suspect most of you know, public education is a people business and is rarely successful unless it's seen through the lens of an educator looking at a student and saying, keep showing up, keep doing your best, and we'll get there, just keep working at it. For many of our students and citizens, including the perennial C+ students that stands before you tonight, those words can be a lifeline. They can be words to keep a young person in school and give them the confidence to go beyond their station in life. Who knows? Maybe they'll even make it to the Gloucester School Committee. What they are not is simply words concerning a budgetary number that we need to get to. Despite the naysayers, as a member of the school committee for over 5 years now, I can say that the groundwork has been laid that will continue to help push our schools forward. Not providing a level service budget, which simply keeps our staffing and offerings at current levels, is a disservice to our families and contradicts the spoken statement by some that strong schools are really what Gloucester needs and is their future. It is my hope that those sitting here tonight will find the resolve and the money needed to help us to continue to create a school system that we can all be proud of and that we can call the shining star on our city's landscape.
Good evening, City Council members. Mr. Mayor's not here. Okay, never mind. My name is Rich Francis. I'm a social studies teacher at Gloucester High School. As many of you may know, my subject is history. Among other things, my true focus is on building the next generation of informed, capable citizens. As the saying goes, we study the past so we don't mess up the future. As much as I'd like to pontificate on the virtues of a robust social studies curriculum tonight, I'm here to look at a larger issue. I'm here to urge you, in the strongest possible terms, to approve the school department's budget in full, as requested by the school committee. As everyone here knows, the city budget is more than a spreadsheet of expenditures. It's a declaration of our priorities and our values. And what could possibly be a higher priority than the potential of our children? And what does it say about our values when every year we debate whether that is our #1 priority? When we talk about fully funding our schools, we're not talking about a line item. We're talking about an investment in our collective future. The quality of our education system is directly correlated with the prosperity and strength of our city tomorrow. Consider the economics and the opportunity costs. A fully funded school system produces graduates who are better prepared for college, trade schools, and the modern workforce. They become your future entrepreneurs, your skilled technicians, your healthcare professionals, and your civic leaders. They are the engine of our local economy. Every dollar we spend on an experienced, high-quality teacher, learning resources, elective programs, vocational programs, or on robust music and arts programs is a dollar that pays dividends in higher wages, increased tax revenue, and reduced social costs for decades to come. But the importance of education goes beyond dollars and cents. It's the cornerstone of a vibrant democratic society. In my classroom, we discuss the complexities of government, the responsibilities of citizenship, and the power of informed participation. A strong, well-rounded curriculum supported by the resources it needs cultivates critical thinkers who can discern truth from noise, essential skills for navigating an increasing complex world. If we cut these programs, we will be leaving our future citizens ill-equipped for the challenges of self-governance. We all share a vision for this city, a city that attracts businesses, a city that is safe, and a city where people want to raise their families. The #1 factor families look at when moving is the quality of public schools. Fully funding the budget is the most direct way to signal that our city is committed to excellence and growth. Let us stop viewing the school budget as an expense to be minimized and start treating it as the most critical infrastructure project the city will ever undertake, the infrastructure of human potential. We can't claim to be a city that prepares children for the future
10 seconds.
if we strip away the very education system that provides the specialized knowledge, highly sought-after skills, and critical thinking they need to succeed. Please don't balance the budget on the children's futures.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dan Graham, 1 Bickford Way. I am a social worker at O'Malley, and I am a proud parent of an East Vets 4th grader. I go to school every day with one thought in my heart, which our city represents in this most sacred space in this whole community, which is build not for today alone, but for tomorrow as well. That is literally our children. And what I am seeing right now, since 2 years ago, we had cuts. Last year, we had a battle that none of us want to go through again. And yet, when I think about those kids that I'm supporting, Thursday, we had a teacher appreciation lunch paid for by the PTO. We all had a cookie in our mailbox. And 2 of my coworkers, I had more than 2 get told their jobs were lost, but 2 of them were my former students who we made a promise to when we educated them that they would have a future. And on Thursday, we told them that, sorry kids, suck it up. You're not coming back. This is unconscionable. We have a duty to take care of our children and take care of Gloucester's future. My daughter is 5th generation to live in our house in Rocky Neck. Her great-grandmother sat on the school committee. Her great-uncle sat on the school committee. Her great-aunt, Ellen Sibley, was one of the best principals we've ever had in this city. I work at the school. My wife, who's been cut twice, has committed to this city. We devote ourselves at low levels of pay to make sure that our kids are successful. We know from 2 years ago that the budget problem is out-of-district costs for special ed students. Can any of you look me in the eye and tell me how having class sizes of 30-plus kids are going to meet those kids' needs and stop that bleeding? What I would say is after a rough year, Phil, Kathy, Rich, we went through a hard process to come together and create a contract that was going to make change, and I thank you both because it is. We are making change right now. We have stopped the flow of blood out. We have curbed the out-of-district. But if we cut now for level, what happens? We're in a city of boats. What happens when your boat's not level? What if you're not even keeled? What does that mean? It means you either sink, you go down, or you get off course. But when you're even keeled and you're being steered in the right direction,
10 seconds.
What happens? Success. You want to stop that $6 million budget outflow to other communities? You have to invest now.
Thank you.
Because you're going to build not for today alone, but for tomorrow as well.
Thank you.
Good evening. Kathy Clancy, 78 High Popples Road. As you know, I'm the chair of the Gloucester School Committee. This echoes when you talk over here, just so you know. I've been part of this process now for many, many years. And we, as a school committee, or trying to rally support for our budget, have never come to you this early in the process. But right now, what we see and what I've seen over the years, that if we do not come to you now, it will be 3 weeks from now before we even talk to you about what we need in our budget. And you'll by then have reviewed all the other departments and you'll say, sorry, we just listened to everybody else and we can't really do anything for you. We are here to say, do something for us because now is the time. And you are the only people that can change what was submitted to you by the mayor. And I do not know why what we need is not more obvious to everybody in this community. I asked you to watch our public hearing tomorrow night where the superintendent will go through our budget and you can better understand the challenges and the needs and the ambitions we have for all of our students. We provide excellent opportunities. And as Dan Graham mentioned, we went through a very tough time a couple years ago, and many of you had people in front of you saying they needed higher pay. And many of you said, we support that. And now is your time to fund that. That is part of this increase. And we cannot do it without covering our health insurance costs, which is a killer. It is double-digit increases, and it has been going on year after year, close to 10%. The city never generates that much money. So for us, it always has to come out of cutting elsewhere. So we try to be very prudent with our budget. We have put forth a responsible budget, but that budget needs to continue level service at minimum. We have dreams, we have plans, long-term plans of adding more support for kids and adding more expertise. This is not the year, clearly. But when you're reviewing the other department budgets, I hope you look at it to say, are we being fair to the schools? Because it seems like we have gotten the leftover amount, and that is not right for our kids. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Noam Graham. I'm also at 1 Bickford Way here in Gloucester. And if I could ask a question to begin with, can you please raise your hand if you went through the public schools in any state or city? None of you guys went to public school?
We don't,
Oh, you don't answer school questions.
No.
Okay, well, I've got my back here, and I'm going to trust that some of you folks went to public school, and hopefully even here in this beautiful city of Gloucester. And Dan already invoked this, so I don't need to do that piece, but I just want to share that I am from a deeply committed family of public school servants and also working with the school committee. And I just need to share with you how one of the hard decisions O'Malley had to make to meet this budget that has been put forward is they got rid of 6 core teachers. That is a minimum of 120 students that have to be pushed into other core classrooms, okay? Now, from a teacher's perspective, the sweet spot is 18 students. 20 to 25, still working great. It would be amazing if you had a paraprofessional in the room to help with your higher needs and special ed students. We're now going to be looking at classes of 30. You are not going to get the quality of education that you need, that Bill spoke so eloquently about, that we have made contracts, legal binding documents, and we're not going to be able to fulfill them under the conditions. Not to mention that, as Dan said, some of those teachers are students who went through Gloucester. And I'm sorry, I'm going to try very hard not to become emotional, but as I said, I am deeply committed to public schools. And for the first time in my life, I am afraid to send my daughter up to O'Malley. I have never considered that being a risk, but if we have classrooms of over 30 kids, it's not going to be the education that any of these students deserve. So please, please consider the human cost as well as the financial cost.
Good evening. My name is Eric Lee. I'm a Gloucester High School biology teacher, biotech teacher, 18 years within the district. I'm going to invoke a mentor of mine, Anne Margaret Ferrante, and the investment that she had put into the city to try to change the nature of our economy, to work towards workforce development. That has been my motto within my classes, to try with fellow colleagues to create a biotech program as a feeder. We were consulted to try to give opportunities that our students could use their hands, could use their minds, and have responsible, productive, and valuable careers. These things are in jeopardy now. We can pick science, we can pick history, we can pick mathematics, we can pick English, we can take every one of those subjects, and every one of those teachers has either been given a reassignment to another school or has lost their job. In my department, I have a Harvard graduate, George Washington University, excellent educator who has worked for 3 years tirelessly. You would not believe the number of hours that she has worked. And I'm only speaking about my department. I could talk about every other colleague that's there who are now being told that they don't have a job. And they're going to go somewhere else. She lives down the way It's a lot easier for her to get a job at a higher amount, but she has a commitment to our students. She takes the hardest students, and I say that only because the challenges that they face, and she works with them. And every day, we have a 2-year program in biology, life science and biology, for those students who need that. This is in jeopardy. This will not continue, because where are those students going to go? Meanwhile, the state has changed all the MCAS requirements. All students come through biology, whether they're English language learners or not. Before there was engineering, before there were other options that were available to show proficiency. These are being taken away. And by not funding a level service budget, you are taking away those other opportunities. You are going to put more kids inside of classes where we already have a high need, and we need assistance, and we need consistency, and we need to be able to build. That particular classroom role that that teacher has had 4 different teachers over the last 8 years because the schedule is so difficult. I ask you, as Anne Margaret had a vision of the future, and believe me, I worked with her for a lot to get increased state funding. She had a vision to invest for workforce development and give the
10
opportunity
seconds.
that students need. So please, level funded is not too much to ask for our students.
All right, MTL, you're online. Bring you in. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Lewis. I'm at 356 Forest Street, and I'm a proud Vice President of the Union of Gloucester Educators and an 8th grade civics teacher at O'Malley. Every time this city claims to value education while simultaneously refusing to fund it, we send a clear message to our students, families, and educators. Our children are not a priority. You cannot continue to demanding excellence from our schools while stripping away the resources required to provide it. As Rich said, cuts are not abstract numbers on a spreadsheet. They amount to larger class sizes, fewer supports for our most vulnerable students, reduced opportunities, burned out staff, and an educational system stretched beyond its limit. They hurt real children in real classrooms every single day. Over these last few years, while I've been at odds at times with the school committee, I am amazed of how they have fought and consciously sought a budget that is reflective of the needs of our most vulnerable and valuable members of our community. I am proud to say that we have come a long way, and I'm even prouder to say that our union stands with the school committee in this matter. Educators have spent years being asked to do more with less. Families are already watching schools struggle to meet growing academic, behavioral, and emotional needs. At some point, doing more with less becomes outright neglect. While the city somehow always finds money when it wants to, when it comes to students, suddenly there are excuses, delays, or calls for shared sacrifice. Our students and our community have sacrificed enough. Please, please, help our students, help our staff, and help our community by committing to fully funding a level services budget. Thank you.
Dawn, we're bringing you in. You want to name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Dawn Leone. I'm at 110 Prospect Street in Gloucester. Good evening, City Council of Gloucester. I'm speaking tonight as a parent of an autistic eighth grader at O'Malley Middle School. I want to share with you a personal story as to what his life in Gloucester has been. When he first entered the Gloucester preschool, he was considered nonverbal. And like many parents, I worried about his future and what it would look like, and if he would find his voice and his confidence and his place in our community. But because of the assistance and the patience and the guidance of his incredible Gloucester Public School staff, my son has blossomed into a remarkable young man. 2 years ago, he stood before the school committee and he spoke on behalf of his beloved paraprofessionals, something that once felt almost unimaginable. And over April vacation, he reached yet another milestone that may seem very small and trivial to some, but he initiated a conversation outside of school with a peer who is outside of his core friend group. For my son, that was huge. And that moment did not just happen by chance. It happened because of the special educators, the paraprofessionals, his general education teachers, and the school staff that have spent years and years encouraging him, modeling peer relationships, and helping him grow and reach his potential. So when we talk about the budget, I want you to remember that when we're talking about these schools, the teachers, the education of our students, we're also talking about children like mine, children that are way more special needs, that are out of district, that need to come back into district, and the essential staff who will help them become who they are meant to be. I want you to please fully fund the school budget that the city school committee is requesting. Thank you.
Is no one else online? Anyone else in the auditorium? Okay, seeing none. Next order of business, Madam Clerk. Please stick around and see what's going on here.
A presentation by the DPW Director, Mike Hale, with an update on solid waste transition.
Shared my screen. I don't see it up there. Yep. I'll double check. Okay. So we are at the end of a 10-year contract for solid waste. We have been negotiating, we've been in discussions for the last 20 months with haulers to discuss what the next contract looks like for the city of Gloucester. Just a little timeline on here. I started in May of 2009 as Director of Public Works, and we had Hiltz. Hiltz was under a 5-year contract with two-year options. We exercised the second option, and soon after that, they were unable to provide service to the city of Gloucester. So late summer of 2016, JRM became the city's solid waste hauler. We landed a pretty good deal with JRM at the time. They were really very interested in getting their foot in the door.
Can you get the mic a little closer to you?
Certainly, sorry. They were very interested in getting their foot in the door with the city of Gloucester, so at an extremely favorable price. Republic bought JRM around November of 2022. We have been a pay-as-you-throw community, first with tags, and then we switched to bags around 2009. It's kind of our legacy. Gloucester was the first pay-as-you-throw community. Not everyone likes the bags, I understand. I never had problems with them, but lots of people do. The pay-as-you-throw program once funded about 70% of the total trash contract. That's around 40% today. So the rest is paid for through the general fund. What we are doing well in Gloucester. On average, a Gloucester household throws less than 1,000 pounds of trash away annually, 976 pounds.
Compared to the other communities in the Northeast office, this is how DEP, our region's kind of Merrimack Valley East, the average community throws away just under 1,500 pounds, and statewide similar average. So Gloucester is very well for what we throw away, and that's attributed to the pay-as-you-throw program, and also some well-thought people reduce what they have, recycle as much as possible. The cost of disposal in Massachusetts is through the roof. There are no more landfills. The state's not permitting them. The few incinerators that we have left are nearing the end of their life expectancy. What's going to happen with solid waste in the future is not known in Massachusetts. A lot of solid waste is hauled out of state through trains. It's going to be a very difficult thing for the next generation. This is a small little bar chart of what our solid waste numbers have been over the years. Again, going back to when I first began in 2009, just under $2 million, and we're anticipating the next contract to be just south of $5 million for collections and disposal. It's a huge increase, but you also have to recognize that the contract we have had for the last 10 years was extremely in our favor. What the next contract will include, a lot of the same things that we enjoy today as households, residential households in Gloucester. It'll be weekly trash and recycling collection. They'll offer bulk item and appliance pickup at a fee. Lawn and yard waste collection will be 7 weeks annually. Then you have your annual, if you throw your Christmas tree away, they'll be collecting that soon after the holidays. What the next contract will look like will also include automated collection. The days of a guy hanging off the back of a trash truck are over. You're not seeing that anywhere anymore. Number one, labor is very difficult to find, and it's a very dangerous profession. The workers' comp insurance for trash truck drivers is through the roof, trash truck haulers. And you can imagine hanging on the back of a truck, and no one in the industry are you allowed to do that. Optimized routes, automated toter collection, and obviously the MRFs, material recovery facilities, have become more updated for sorting over the years for better recycling processing. We're looking at a 35-gallon cart for trash, similar to your same-size trash bag you have today, and a 65-gallon cart for recycling, which should be able to handle everyone's single stream for a week. Something that most people don't know is we have never paid a disposal fee for recycling in the city of Gloucester. We've always been able to negotiate that out. Everywhere in the Commonwealth right now, recycling is more expensive to manage than solid waste. We're going from $0 to $125, and that's the average of all firms that we've spoken to for this cost of disposal. Right away, you're adding $750,000 plus to the trash contract. We enacted single stream in 2014. If you remember, before that, we had dual stream recycling. Paper and cardboard is separated from other tin, metal, plastic, and glass. The commodities market really took a hit around that time, and it made no sense to try to sort materials at the home. They can sort them at the facilities and make better use of our time. Recycling's mandatory. It's mandatory by the city ordinance as well as Mass DEP. There's no way around not recycling. We must do it, and for good reasons. In the next 3 to 4 years, Massachusetts is going to even strengthen some more of the solid waste regulations and laws, and that's going to make things more expensive for us. The idea of this contract we're looking to negotiate right now would be a 5-year contract, which again would require the blessing of the City Council to extend a contract that long with a number of option years and get us out, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 years out before we have to do this again. And I would anticipate an escalator every year on this trash contract for both collection and disposal. So again, this is a very high-level discussion of what we're facing. I've mentioned this at the last 2 years' budget meetings to be ready for this. This should come as no secret to anyone. you read any of the local newspapers from the North Shore, you're seeing other communities going through the same thing. It's a tough pill to swallow when things are very expensive for the city to begin with, and you add this on top of it. It's another expense that we have to somehow work around. There are no options for us. If this was a service that any one of us paid for out of our own pocket, it'd be significantly higher. If you had a couple toters at your home, you're looking at $100, $150 a month for a private hauler to come pick up your trash, monthly, not weekly. And this, I think, if the numbers work out the way I anticipate them doing, and depending on how we split these costs, which have not been determined yet, looking at probably $400 per household per year, which isn't too much different than the cost of throwing one bag a week away today. So again, high level, no decisions have been finalized yet, but we're getting close. This contract expires the end of September this year, so we're going to be moving pretty quickly from this point forward. So that's what I have for you tonight. Certainly open for questions.
Councilor Nolan.
So, Mike, I know we're a weird city with a downtown area, and you can't grab barrels over parked cars on, like, say, Chestnut Street. Is there any ideas on still serving those routes with people on the back of the trucks to grab the trash over the cars? And in larger areas such as Ward 5, 4, and 1, not so much 1, but mostly Ward 4 and 5, where there may be the ability to save money with the contractor can use the automated truck to grab the barrels.
So we've had this discussion with every hauler. As much as we like to think we're unique in Gloucester, we're really not. There's a lot of cities that have automated collections. Anywhere in the metropolitan Boston area, this is the norm today. They have methods that they can do this. There might be a smaller truck in the downtown area for that day that can fit in and around those streets easier. And then maybe a second person with that driver during those days to help get carts out to the street and wheel them back to the curbside after collection. There's a number of streets downtown where this is going to work fine. There's a number of streets where it's going to be more difficult, but all the haulers we've spoken to see this as a challenge, but not something that they can't get around.
Excellent, thank you.
Councilor Benton.
Thank you. Yeah, and first, I know in a lot of other cities and towns that have even narrower streets, they make it work, and we will make it work. Curious if we're looking at totes, we're looking at recycling totes. Have you thought of looking at the grants that other communities have considered around getting those totes for specifically for recycling? I know there's the recycling dividends program from the state. Is that something we could look at for specifically getting the bins on recycling, if that makes sense?
So we apply for the recycling dividends grant every year.
Okay.
We're pretty successful. It's very small relative to the cost of toters.
Okay.
We have DEPs following this contract negotiation like they do all cities and towns. We have a very active Northeast office, and we've already filled out additional grant paperwork to be in the queue, which could be a significant number, but to be determined. It's too early to tell if we'll be successful for that. And there's some criteria within that grant that we have to meet. The toters have to be made out of a certain percent recycled material, certain size. And DP really wants to see the city of Gloucester kind of, stay the course run right now due to the fact we've reduced solid waste so much in this community, and the city should feel pretty good about that.
So I actually, I don't know if anyone else, what would you, because as we look down the pike, what would you suggest to residents? We're doing a really good job with recycling, doing more so that they're more recycling, so they're reducing their waste even more, if that makes sense. I know that there's now going to be a cost for recycling, but I think overall there's a benefit because we're now looking at problems coming down the pike where you said there's nowhere to put this trash. Specifically in Massachusetts, it's going to be the next generations that's going to be dealing with that. But do you have any advice for residents specifically of how to reduce even more? And could there even be more programs that we could consider in the future around food and waste recycling, stuff like that as well? If there's obviously a cost in that, but
I think we've looked at organics collection before, and it's an expensive proposition for the city to take on for all residents. But anyone who's interested, and there's a number of them out there today. The market has a very different item. You know, you can pick weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. There's all different ways that a homeowner could reduce their solid waste and divert that organics to a composter. Black Earth's out of Manchester, great company. They have a lot of clients in Gloucester, on Cape Ann, certainly Gloucester, that's a family could use them. Just mindful purchasing. What are you purchasing your products in? There's a lot of waste at the grocery store, a lot of packing materials. They're not recyclable. And again, the commodities market drives what's recyclable, not just what you think is. Just because a recycling emblem on it does not mean it's recyclable. It's made out of recycled material. And certain products just have a shelf life. There's no more life left in that product at the end of its current use. Yes, we've paid $0 for recycling, so it made a lot of sense to divert that to recycling in the last 30 years here in town. Recycling is going to be more than solid waste, but that doesn't mean don't recycle. Just recycle responsibly and hold the course. Again, Gloucester recycles a fair amount, and you can see our solid waste numbers are down compared to other communities in our area.
Councilor Grow.
I'm going to ask you a really long-winded question. It's going to have all my questions baked into one. First off, I appreciate all that you've been putting into this. I know it's going to be a big transition. Another transition. We went from stickers to bags, and now we're going to go from bags to toters. So some of these are just practical questions. We're going to be spending $1 million on new toters. That's estimated for the next budget out of the capitalization account. How are we going to distribute them? How are we going to handle damage, loss, or theft? How are we going to phase out the purple bags? How are we going to handle the extra barrels for people who just can't get enough of throwing stuff away? Seniors, disabled, was the final thing in there. And also, how are we going to work the new cost and billing process? Because we're not going to be buying bags anymore. We're going to have to bill people in a different way. How's that going to be done? And then finally and lastly, when should we start considering an enterprise account for this, taking it off the general fund obligations? We're losing about $1.4 million this year to subsidizing trash pickup, and there's a lot of people in this room who would like to see that $1.4 million gone elsewhere. And I know it's difficult to look at doing an enterprise account in the next 6 months, but that's a place where we could take pressure off the general fund.
I think anytime you can take pressure off the general fund, you should. 2.5% growth annually, new growth, it does not provide level funding. It just doesn't. My department's been decimated over the years. I have 50% staff reduction since 2009. It goes unnoticed. We're public works. It just is what it is for us. The toters will likely be rolled out through the vendor themselves. They would direct purchase, they would distribute, they would provide maintenance. So if your toter's got a wonky wheel, for example, there'd be a number or an app or a website. You'd go on to, Acme Trash Hauling Company and say, I live at 1 Main Street, I got a wonky wheel on my 65-gallon recycling toter. We'll be out in 3 days to fix it. Or it's damaged from whatever, we'll be out to replace it. And again, some of these costs are undetermined where they go. Certainly the maintenance is part of it, but someone steals your barrel, I don't know how you recover from that. My guess is we eat that cost. No one should be stealing barrels. How we phase out bags and how we pay for this program. Most communities have a fee associated with the cost of this program that's assessed like on a utility bill. I've seen some communities put on their tax bills. It's a line item within there that says it's your solid waste fee for your single-family home is X dollars annually. It's paid for in increments over the course of the year. Is it ideal? I don't know. It kind of is what it is when we have to pay for this service. City can't afford to be out of pocket 100% on this. And if the idea is to move towards the enterprise fund, that means we'd be out of pocket $0 for it. It'd be solely based on what the revenue is from from the fee would cover the entire program, allowing this program not to touch the general fund. I think if we're going to discuss an enterprise fund for this, we start the discussion now for the next fiscal year, not in 2 months. I think 2 months is probably too quick to work out any of the bugs. But I think certainly 14 months is enough time to it. And I'd honestly defer that to the CFO's office for what that type of account would look like. But I think 2 months is too aggressive of a timeline. Too many things can go wrong being hasteful.
Councilor Benson.
Thank you. Just one last question, and kind of going what Councilor Groh was speaking to is the overflow. I know other communities, they do bags if there's overflow. Is that something we could consider? And I think that would be a way to kind of also reduce waste. Something to think about if we could look at that. Maybe we keep bags in, but they're just specifically overflow, and then they come in. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into it, but just something to think about.
Sure. Oftentimes, the overflow bags are associated with communities that have back of the truck loaders. And so you may be allowed a barrel a week, a traditional trash barrel. And anything that doesn't fit in there, you could buy an overflow bag. Overflow bags do not work for automation because now that driver needs to get out of that truck, go to the curbside, grab that bag, and put it in the truck. There are communities that offer, let's just say you are a heavy trash user. You've a lot of folks in your home, you guys are making a mess. You could request a second toter at a fee, and now you can fill up your 2 toters and keep your home clean. That's, again, it's your choice. If you choose to pay for it, you get the extra service. If not, you have what everyone else has.
Councilor Groh.
Just a quick note, there was a recent story about Beverly and Mayor Cahill raising the trash pickup in Beverly from $100 a year, which I don't know how they did that, to $415. So we are not alone in this trash mess.
Certainly not. This is a topic that I hear monthly at various professional meetings about the challenges that not just eastern part of the state, central and western part of the state are facing. It's just there's no place to get rid of trash. It's very expensive to do so. And the labor market for CDL drivers for these trucks and other labor that's associated with this is not there. They raised the prevailing wage for zone, I guess all of the state, but certainly our zone, zone 2, in the winter of 25, retroactive to July 1st, 24. That was a big hit for the city's budget. We weren't anticipating that. It was after we settled our fiscal year budget. We were paying, thousands of dollars extra every month. It's just the cost of doing business in the Commonwealth is very, very expensive.
A couple of questions, Mike. When does this contract expire?
September 30th. The current one is September 30th. So we'd be looking to enter in day 1 to be October 1st, or the Monday there, whatever that is.
And are the haulers themselves that you've been discussing things with, because I'm sure that there's a finite number of haulers here in eastern Massachusetts, are they driving the automation? Are they the ones who are saying this is the service we offer?
Yes, well, 2 questions. There is a finite number of trash haulers that are sized to handle the city of Gloucester. The industry itself, and it's not just the haulers, it's their insurance companies, it's a lot of factors go into a change in process like this. And we've seen other changes. There's a lot of things change in labor over years, and having someone strapped to the back of a truck is extremely dangerous, and the rate of injuries is high. And the problem is there's no bench, so to speak. It's not like you have all these extra guys sitting at the shop at Acme Trash Hauling waiting to get in the back of a truck. They wind up without staff, and we've faced severe shortages in the last couple of years with drivers and back of the truck labor, and that's why sometimes trash is missed. You want to know why the trash is missed? Because they don't have labor that day to do it. There's just not a big enough bench. People aren't interested in this industry for work, and it's dangerous.
Sir.
Councilor Memard.
Mike, thank you very much, and thank you for the job you and your staff do. Did we learn any lessons during the strike, Republic strike, in terms of what we went through and your department went through, the DPW, in terms of managing trash and recycling in-house for the city? Was there a lesson learned there that gives us any insight into our options going forward?
Lots of lessons learned. You know, we're not set up to have in-house solid waste removal in Gloucester. There's 15 bodies that work in the Public Service Division. 15, that's it. They do everything from clean beaches to cut grass to potholes, sweep streets, cut trees. 15. We used to have 15 summer laborers when I first started working with the city in 1999. 15 summer laborers, now we have 15 total laborers. And we get 2, 3, maybe 4 people interested in working summers cutting grass. We're not set up for it. Poplar Street's not a very good place to house trucks. It's a residential neighborhood. We tried to be the best neighbors we could during that trash strike. It's difficult. If you have a loader moving trash, recycling, you know, after hours, when they're in reverse, there's that reverse alarm. You can't turn that alarm off on that truck just because you're in a residential neighborhood. It drove some people to the point when they were not very happy with us. They understood. Their patience were, we pushed their patience during that 13-week strike. A lot of things went undone last summer because we didn't have resources to do it because we spent so much time doing collections and sorting of trash and recycling. I don't want to do it. That's the biggest lesson. I don't want to do solid waste myself. A contractor is the best way to go.
Thank you.
I guess that's it for questions from us. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, we'll be eventually back before the council for the longer term contract. Okay,
Great.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Presentation by the Library Director, Jenny Benedict, with an update on the 2025 Sawyer Free Library renovation and addition project.
There we go. So good evening, Council. Thank you for this opportunity to share an update on the Sawyer Free Library project. It's thanks to Council's leadership that Gloucester's public library is secured for future generations. And it's really been the honor of my career to steward this project, and I sincerely thank you for making this project possible. In early September, we moved back into our historic home with a glorious ribbon-cutting ceremony, followed by an all-day community open house. We've now been open for 8 months, and the energy is still incredible. People are marveling at the new spaces and the expanded services. Here's a quick look at how active we are. In terms of foot traffic, we have welcomed over 45,000 people through our doors and registered nearly 1,600 new cardholders. We have very high demand for our physical collections, with over 100,000 items borrowed, which equates to about 630 physical items checked out per day that we are open. Our 2 study rooms have been incredibly busy with just over 1,250 bookings, and they're almost always in use. And we've held nearly 500 public programs with just over 8,000 participants. And our community room is very often packed to capacity. Library staff are doing an incredible job of meeting this surging demand with excellent customer service that ensures every visitor feels welcome and supported in our new library. Our public services are focused on 8 key areas. Up on the second floor, Gloucester's teens have truly created a place of their own in the teen room. And the children's room and early learning center are bright, wonderful filled spaces for our youngest residents to play and learn. On the ground floor, the new Local History Research Center offers a wealth of resources for residents and visitors to dive into Gloucester's past and discover their roots. And the new Digital Learning Lab serves as a key community resource to ensure everyone has access to technology and the skills to use it. Experiencing the arts with beautiful arts exhibitions in the Matt's Gallery, as well as live music performances and films in the community room. Our Discover New Voices program celebrates local talented authors. Health and wellness helps people to find reliable health information and attend wellness programs that keep them feeling at their best. And building a sustainable future with information and programs about protecting our natural environment. The Sawyer Free Library's public services are actively strengthening Gloucester's future. We recently graduated our first group of computer basics students. The vast majority of them were older adults with 0 prior tech experience. I am incredibly proud of the perseverance of those in their 80s and the expert patient guidance provided by Gloucester High School digital tutors. This program has empowered seniors to communicate confidently through email and video conferencing, as well as to browse the web safely and with newfound independence. We're also very focused on improving reading and math for our youngest residents. Last week, we had 2 certified therapy dogs, Ella and Asia, in the library who will visit weekly over the next couple of months. So therapy dogs provide a calm and non-judgmental ear for beginning and reluctant readers to practice reading aloud. And this fun, low-stakes environment is proven to build reading confidence in young children. I'm looking forward to releasing our next impact report later this month and sharing more of the tangible outcomes that we are already seeing at the library. The best ways to find out about our public programs are through the calendar on the website or by signing up for our monthly e-newsletter. We have more than 80 programs scheduled for May alone, color-coded on our website calendar by age, with pink for kids, pale green for teens, and blue for adults. We have so much more in store as we continue to grow and serve the Gloucester community. In terms of the capital project, the transformation of the Sawyer Free Library included renovating the 1976 and 1913 buildings and adding just over 12,000 square feet. I want to credit our design team of Odin Zello and Doran Whittier and our outstanding construction managers, W.T. Rich and Construction Monitoring Services. They had an unwavering dedication to delivering this complex project with the highest standard of workmanship and durable materials at a fair and reasonable price. As a result, construction proceeded on time, within budget, and most importantly, with our working relationships still intact. So I am proud to report the following fiscal results. Our total project budget was $31 million. This consisted of $2 million from the Library Corporation in the design phase, and then $29 million approved by City Council through a loan order for the construction phase. The actual cost of the construction phase came in within budget at $27.4 million, which with each of the line items within budget: professional services, construction, and the fixtures, furnishings, and equipment. So the total cost, including interest costs related to borrowing of just over $800,000 to date, is just over $30 million. In terms of revenues, the city has received over $15 million in cash over the last 3 years. This includes the MBLC construction grant payments and interest on those payments, transfers from the Library Corporation, and a CPC grant for the public gardens. In addition, as mentioned, the Library Corporation invested an initial $2 million prior to the start of construction. Last fall, the city borrowed $14 million for this project to cover expenses as they came in. The $31 million in total funds received and borrowed more than covers all of the project costs. As we move forward, the short-term borrowing can be renewed annually, and the total amount borrowed will be paid down to reflect the actual costs and also the Library Corporation's annual transfer. Before I turn it over to Library Corporation President Jeff Bradford, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our donors. It's thanks to our donors' belief in the vision of this project and generous investment that we have ensured that everyone in our community can grow healthier and stronger. I would also like to commend the Library Corporation for their record-breaking success. The Library Corporation has raised more money for this project than other peer Massachusetts public library campaigns, including Medford, Amherst, Belmont, Fitchburg, Melrose, and Marblehead. So congratulations to the Library Corporation. So I'll turn it over to Jeff Bradford.
Thank you, Jenny, and thank you, counselors, for having us tonight. This thermometer, everyone wanted us to have a thermometer, so here's a thermometer, kind of shows the breakup of where funds have come from and what's left to be paid and how we're going to pay the city back. We are, sorry, I wrote something out, but what Jenny said covered most of it. I think a couple of big things to know here is that we are $1 million under budget, basically. And because of that, the city has actually borrowed more than they need to at the moment. So right off the bat, we're going to be ahead on the payback.
You're fine?
So we'll be there. Sorry about that. So what are we going to do to pay back? Our plan is to pay back about $1.6 million a year going forward until it's paid off, right? We will cover obviously we'll use that money to pay down the principal and pay off the interest as it comes in on these bands. The best way we feel to do it is a yearly single payment to the city. We will be taking in the money and saving it in a specific bank account we have for this until the band becomes due, and we'll, give you a transfer at that time. We believe we can do this. We are ahead this year. We've already hit the 1.6 million goal, and we still have 2 months, so we expect we will have more money this year than we had originally anticipated. In particular, we have events that are going to keep going. We have some fundraisers, things like that. Coming up, we have this donor event with Ben Bradley Jr. About why libraries still matter today. We have our art fundraiser in September, and we have our spring appeal coming up. Our annual appeal that we just completed was the best one we had on record, with about 30% of the donations coming from new donors. So, yeah. So if you have any questions about our plan or the library's funding, let me know.
Questions? Councilor Page.
Hi, thank you. Just taking off your thermometer here, 30.2, and I guess we've received about 15 million. That leaves it, is that 15 million gap? Is that what you're going to raise?
No,
And
so out of the 32, we initially put in 2 million. You've received 16.4-ish about. We have another 1.3 that we've already allocated that we expect to add to before the end of the fiscal year. But like I say, we intend to send that over to pay off the band when the band comes due.
Okay, so committed funding means what the city's received to date? Yep, nope, committed funding is what we signed. No, sorry.
So let's go back here. So the city has received and borrowed and received funds over $31 million. So that is higher than the total cost of the project. The total cost of the project is around 30.194. This is just because of when the expenses were due compared to when the monies are received. So your 14.
Right into the mic.
Oh, sorry.
I
You
really
can't hear.
you at all.
Sorry about that. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And she steps in.
Yeah. So I think the first thing to realize is that the cost of the project, which is here at 30.194 million, is currently lower than the total amount of funds that have been borrowed and received by the city. So the city has received 15.215 and borrowed 14 million. When we look at the thermometer from the Library Corporation's point of view, the committed funding is 16.394. So what they are showing there is in the grants, corporate, and individual contributions, there's 6 million. To date, 4.7 million of that has been transferred to the city. So there's 1.3 million that will be transferred this year by the time that the short-term borrowing comes due. Does that help?
Yes, I'm still not clear what you got, where you come up with the 11 million, the 10,699. It seems higher, it seems like the gap's higher than that. Did I miss that?
I don't believe so. Yeah.
I think the
Do the
problem is
math?
you have 14 million on the previous slide, and then you have 10.7 on the thermometer slide. So I think that's where the confusion lies.
Okay. So there is, as I mentioned, the
one set
1.3
of numbers.
million to be transferred. There is also the amount borrowed is already $1 million higher.
I don't believe that we've actually, can we have the CFO come up here and tell us about what we borrowed? Because we don't usually borrow money. If
maybe
we don't have
Connor
to
can
spend it,
explain
we
it to
don't
me. He's
borrow
good.
it.
Thank you, Connor.
So last October, we sold a bond anticipation note for $14 million to finish the construction of the library. So it has a slightly positive cash balance because they finished the project under budget. So when we pay that bond anticipation note in October, we'll be able to recoup that extra money. We're just going to give it back. So by my calculation, it's almost right in line with that. We're at about 12.6 million outstanding. They said they have $2 million in their fund, so that gets us to the 10.6. So we took out a $14 million loan, but didn't use all of it because the construction came in under budget, which is always a good thing.
To clarify, so we're going to recoup what we borrowed this much, X this much. We're going to recoup the money that we were, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Just to kind of clear it, yep.
Yeah, think of a bond anticipation note like a construction loan. We don't pay any principal, we just pay interest. So then when the library gives us the money every year, we put it towards the construction costs, and then we'll do another short-term note as needed.
So we're going to recoup the money even for the money that we didn't spend. We're going to recoup it because it was under budget, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. I think that clarifies it.
Councilor Page, you got another question?
Connor, how did that work if we're paying interest only? If none of this is going to principal, an interest-only loan doesn't cover principal. So does that still leave us with this 11?
Yep, so what'll happen is October 5th, the person that bought the bond anticipation note will say, okay, you owe us $14 million plus $450,000 of interest. So when we get the $2 million from the library, we'll put the $450,000 towards the interest, and then the balance goes onto the construction. So if I have to do another short-term note, it's now less what we received from the library.
Less than we received from, all right.
Right.
In the end.
amount is less than.
In the end, everything is covered, including interest on these loans.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We have, the city has not incurred any expense to date related
Yeah, thank you.
The beauty of the ban is that we don't have to pay on the principal out of our budget, I guess. Oh, well. It's falling on deaf ears. Councilor Grau.
Just a quick question. We had the great luck of having the MLBC $10 million grant. Are there other large-scale grants that we are in line for, or is that ship kind of sailed with the construction that we've done?
So I think we continue to look particularly at family foundations who grant funds. But in terms of sort of the federal and state level funds, no, there is not more grant for a building that's completed.
Councilor Nolan.
Under the fact that I trust Fran and Barry Weiner to make sure this works, we took an oath to just fund this, and I know that you guys will do it. I have faith in the library, and this will work out. And Connor, thank you for your words of wisdom.
Fran personally guarantee this?
I thought he did.
Yeah, I think he did.
The signature, though. Anyone else? Thank you. That was good news that you guys are, going to annually get this down. It doesn't cost the city anything because that's the beauty of the ban, is it's interest only, which you guys cover. And so we don't have to pay any principal out of our operating budget. So it works out. And so keep up the good work. I know it's a tough slog now, because you've already hit the big hitters, but that's great. Anybody else?
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I think it is somewhat complex in the way the financial picture works, but I think it's very important for all of council to have a common understanding of what that is. So thank you.
Absolutely. There was a lot of questions swirling around, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Consent agenda.
Would any counselor wish to pull anything off the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Groh, seconded by Counselor Benson. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0, 1 absent. Standing committee report. Counselor Memard, Budget and Finance.
Yes, thank you very much. We have 2 items for your consideration from our meeting last Thursday night. And a great kudos and thanks to Councilor at-Large Hannah Kimberly for filling in for others who were absent at other obligations.
We have a correction on that grant. So it is actually called the DCR FY26 Mass Fuels Education Grant is what it's called.
You're talking about item number 2 on the agenda?
I'm talking about item number 1.
Oh, I see, okay.
The fire chief requesting acceptance of, it is now the DCR FY26 Fuel Education Grant.
Okay.
That's, we were informed of that. DCRS? DCF. DCF. Oh, DCR, sorry. DCR.
Why don't I go ahead and read that motion and we can correct it as appropriate?
Sounds good.
So, again, thanks to Councilor Kimberly.
The motion is correct, I guess.
The first item is a memorandum from the fire chief requesting our acceptance of the fiscal year 2026 Massachusetts DFS or DCR Firefighter Safety Equipment Grant in the amount of $45,000. The chief presented this and reviewed it with us and was very helpful. Budget and Finance voted to recommend to the City Council on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Kimberly. We voted 2 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 absent, to recommend that the City Council accept a state grant under Mass General Law 4453A, a fiscal year 2026 Hazardous Fuels Mitigation Grant from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, passed through the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation in the amount of $45,000 and this is for the purpose of improvement of the fire road access, mowing, and reduction of volatile fuels along strategic access points in high areas of concern, which were identified in the 2024 Cape Ann Community Wildfire Protection Plan. The grant period is through June 30th, 2026, coming right upon us, and there is no local match for this grant, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Memard, seconded by Councilor Kimberly. Discussion. I just would like to amend the introduction. Do we need to amend the introduction or no?
Clarify.
Okay.
And
So
what the
it's a
item was.
memorandum of the fire chief requesting acceptance of the DCR Fuels Education Grant, not DFS Fire Safety Equipment Grant.
The Hazardous Fuels Mitigation Grant.
Hazardous fuels. Okay. You didn't give me that one. So, but the motion is correct. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. 8-0, 1 absent.
And the work is correct, too. They need to mitigate our exposure to wildfire on Cape Ann. Number 2, a memorandum from the superintendent of schools and a 2026 supplemental appropriation. This is number 18. This is in the amount of $300,000 for approval to use the Special Education Reserve Fund for fiscal year 2026 unbudgeted expenses. Committee recommendation on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Kimberly. Budget and Finance Committee voted 2 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 absent, to recommend that the City Council approve a supplemental appropriation 2026 SA number 18 in the amount of $300,000 from the School Special Education Stabilization Fund, transfers to School General Fund, account number is noted, to the Beeman School Special Education Specialist Professional Salaries account, as noted, and this is for the purpose of fiscal year 2026 school expenditures related to positions, instruction, support, and other related services for special education. And I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Memard, seconded by Councilor Kimberly. Discussion. Councilor Page.
I just wanted to ask, I see that Kathy and Bill are still here. These say they're unbudgeted expenses. Were they unexpected? And if this is coming out of, I believe stabilization is commonly referred to as free cash, that's a one-time coverage? Is there some plan to pay for these ongoing? So were they unexpected or unplanned? And is there funding to pay this ongoing?
The superintendent obviously is the better person to.
I told him he didn't need to be here tonight.
Right, to answer that, but they were not anticipated at time of budget, but when the school year began and needs were analyzed and assessed, we knew we needed to hire more people to meet the current needs of the students that were enrolled. So they are staff that we need, for sure.
I would just point out that this is a reserve account set up specifically for that unanticipated expense.
Right, and that's only a portion of the cost of what it actually was. So we're trying to be mindful, which is why this coming year's budget is so important to have it adequately funded, because there's very little reserve on the school side, and this reserve fund for special education is important because we never had any pot of money to look to when we had unanticipated expenses. If a couple students that we weren't anticipating go out of district, those costs for tuition can be really high. And so there were times where we had to come back mid-year for free cash. Many years ago. I don't think it's happened in a long time. So this was a way to work with the city to come up with a stabilization account so that everybody knows we need a contingency somewhere. And so thankfully the city funded that.
Are these positions in your level funded budget this year?
They are.
So they would not be level funded from last year's budget? Level service, I mean.
Well,
you're assuming this.
We're trying to continue
you're
with
assuming
these
this,
positions.
yeah,
And if we don't get the funding, then
I understand.
other places get cut. So.
Just making sure that we know, the level playing field and what it is. So, thanks. Any more discussion? Roll call. Call the roll, please, Madam Clerk.
Counselor Gross.
Yes.
Counselor Grow.
Yes.
Counselor Kimberly.
Yes.
Counselor Memhard.
Aye.
Counselor Nolan.
Aye.
Counselor Page.
Aye.
Counselor Benson.
Aye.
Counselor Grace.
Aye.
The vote is 8 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 absent. The motion passes.
Thank you. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
The May 4th, 2026 Ordinances and Administration Standing Committee Report.
There are no items under this heading. Thank you.
Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
The May 6th, 2026 Planning and Development Standing Committee Report.
Thank you very much. We only have one item for information only, and that is a special event application 2628 was request for street closures for the Rose Baker Center for Aging Well ribbon cutting and resource fair on May 21st, 2026. That is happening midday. I believe it's from 12:30 to 1 on at the newly named Rose Baker Center for Aging Well. Be there or be square.
Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing 2026, number 13, memorandum from the Shellfish Constable regarding amendments to Chapter 20, Shellfish, Seaworms, and Eels, Article 2, Permits, Section 20-20, Required Generally, and 20-29, Fees.
I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone speaking in favor? I believe the Shellfish Constable is with us. Rebecca, you're muted.
Good evening, everyone.
So do you want to give us a little rundown on what you're looking for here?
Or do you want me to read out the changes from the document or just go a brief overview?
Brief overview first, I think.
So what we're looking to do is just clarify some of the ordinances regarding permitting for recreational harvesters. We get a lot of questions from parents and grandparents and family members at the beach on what age their child needs to be in order to have a permit or to help them harvest. So we've added some clarifying language for non-commercial harvesters. In order to get a recreational shellfish permit, they must be 18 years old. Anyone under the age of 18 can still participate in the harvest of shellfish as long as they're in the presence or supervision of a permitted adult. That is the 20-20 update. And then we added a line under 20-29 fees that will allow for a 2-week or 15-day late fee period for commercial harvest permit applications.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, did we get any communications, Madam Clerk?
No.
Questions from the council? Councilor Benson.
Thank you. To Warden Visnick. Question about specifically for the $100 late fee. Why specifically July 15th? Why that date?
So we typically see commercial harvesters, they have their application period is the month of June.
Okay, yep.
The end of June with Fiesta and then 4th of July, we get a lot of messages on July 1st or 2nd, whatever that first business day of July is, of panicked harvesters who just forgot to get their application in on time or didn't realize that the last business day in June wasn't the 30th. And that's a hard time of year to get the Shellfish Advisory Council together to talk through issuing late permits. So the Shellfish Advisory Commission decided that a 15-day window after the original application period would give enough time for the few harvesters that just didn't get their permit application in on time to get that together. We typically don't see any other late permits come in any later than the first couple of days in July.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Grow.
Can I just, this is out of pure ignorance, but am I reading this correctly that a kid under 18 can't just go down to the beach and dig clams non-commercially if they're hanging out at the beach, whatever? That's not allowed.
That's correct, just because of the public health risk.
Anyone else? All right, Rebecca, I'm going to be a little thorn here. The no person under 18, that's going to really restrict almost any high school kids who are trying to, and the state allows you, as long as you have a state ID and you have permission, if you're enrolled in school, you have permission from the school, correct? You have permission from the parent, and you have to have, you also have to have a work order or a work permit? Okay, so no, because they're self-employed. But the state's 14, and you have to have an ID. So I'm inclined not to agree with having no person under 18 when the state allows it to go 14. And how many, and I think at BNF you said there was maybe 5 of these these teenagers who are actually doing it, so I don't see it as a big managerial issue. So I'm inclined to not want to. Would you just respond to that for the other counselors?
Sure. I think I might read just the first sentence because I think that's where we're kind of looking at here. So for point number 2, it says, except no person under the age of 18 shall be granted a non-commercial or commercial permit other than a full-time student as defined in 20-3 definitions. I think you're speaking mostly about the commercial aspect of that.
Correct.
We don't have any student harvesters that haven't been able to get a document from school. We haven't run into that issue during the time that I've been constable. They've always been enrolled as a student.
But you could have the, where they can leave school at 16, so you could be, someone who actually wants to be a productive contributor, both in, harvesting the shellfish, but also the tax ramifications and the tax contribution and keeping themselves out of trouble. I don't want to see them denied either. And usually, these tend to be family, through the years that we've noticed is that, sons follow their father's footsteps in these things. So anyway, I just wanted to give you an opportunity before I made my argument before the rest of the counselors to say, that that's a bad idea to allow them to be able to harvest shellfish.
Yeah, I mean, the intention of this was to give clarity around recreational harvesters, not commercial, because that's where we see all of these particular instances. It's not with commercial harvesters.
So if we just, in that first line, eliminate commercial permit, and then probably also other than full-time student, if we eliminated everything in that first sentence from non-commercial and just put the period at the end of non-commercial and then kept everything there, would that be acceptable?
Yeah, I think that would work.
Okay, great, thanks. I'll make that amendment after the motion. Anyone else have questions? I'm going to close the public hearing. And Councilor Nolan, would you please read the amendment?
On a motion by Councilor Majota, seconded by Councilor Gross, the Ordinance and Administration Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed to amend the Chapter 20 Shellfish, Sea Worms, and Eels, Section 2020, required generally, in Section 2029, fees as follows. Section 2020, required generally. Renumber the first paragraph 1. Add a new second paragraph. 2. Except no person under the age of 18 shall be granted a non-commercial or commercial permit other than a full-time student as defined in Section 20-3 definitions. However, any person under the age of 18 may dig or take shellfish, sea worms, or eels within the city for non-commercial purposes under the supervision of and with the presence or within a reasonable distance of a person who has been issued a permit under Section 2022. The supervising permit holder shall be responsible for the underage person's compliance with the provisions under this chapter in the laws of the Commonwealth pertaining to the taking of shellfish. The amount taken by supervising permit holder in the underage person combined shall not exceed the limits set forth in Section 20-30. Section 20-29 fees. Add 4. For the above resident commercial shellfish, sea worm permits, all applications shall be due by June 30th. A late fee of $100 shall be assessed to any applicant submitting materials after June 30th. Deadline in between July 1st and July 15th. No application shall be accepted and no permits issued after July 15th, following the expiration of this late period on July 15th. No further applications shall be accepted for any reason. Renumber 4 through 12 to 5 to 13. And I so move.
Second. Hannah, did you say second? Oh, Councilor Grow. Moved by Councilor Nolan, seconded by Councilor Grow. Discussion. I'd like to make an amendment. In the first paragraph, I would like to delete commercial, leave permit, and then delete other than full-time student as defined in sections 20-3 definitions. And I so
Second.
moved. All right, discussion on the amendment. Councilor Grow.
I have no problem with the amendment. I just want to make sure I understand that what this is basically saying is that nobody under 18 can harvest clams and sea worms without an adult having a non-commercial or commercial license attached to it?
Non-commercial.
Non-commercial. So they can't do it if they couldn't work for their dad as a non-commercial,
I don't believe
as
so.
a commercial person?
No, they can't work under their parents' commercial permit. Is that correct, Rebecca?
Right, every harvester needs their own permit.
So somebody who's 16, whose father's a clammer, can't get a commercial, they can?
They can now.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's
Yeah.
what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was what the amendment was about. Any other discussion?
I just want to clarify for the minutes that I'm understanding what the amendment is. It's going to read, except no person under the age of 18 shall be granted a non-commercial permit.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0, one absent.
Needed to vote on the amendment.
Oh, that was on the amendment. That was on the amendment. Now the main motion.
Who seconded the amendment?
Yeah, he did.
You did?
Really fast, too.
It was like before he
Almost before he finished.
That was the other way around. Anyway, all right, so we've also made and seconded the main
I'll second
motion.
that one.
I think we already did that. So on the main motion, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0, one absent. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for this.
Thank you. Good evening,
This was-
everyone.
These were good additions. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good that they have that. right, next up, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing 2026, number 14, communication from Gloucester Taxi and Livery Service, Inc. regarding fare increase and amendment to GCO Chapter 25, Vehicles for Hire.
Anyone want to speak in favor? Oh, open the public hearing. Thank you. And anyone who wishes to speak in favor? Okay,
Hello,
Hello, name and address
Hi.
for the record.
Kristen Sutera, 19 Chestnut Street, Gloucester, Mass. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yep, we
Yep.
can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Okay, my mother is the owner of Gloucester Taxi. We have been operating for 3 years. We've never increased our cab fares, and this time our expenses have increased like tremendously, especially in the past year. So we were hoping to increase the initial cab fare and the every, I think, 1/8 mile. It's only to basically cover the cost. It's not really going to give us a profit, but we don't want to raise the cost too high because of the, all our customers are really not well off, and we have a lot of elderly, a lot of people that just depend on us for getting to work, getting home from bars at night. We have a lot of accounts with the food pantry, the hospital, the shelter, where they can call and give, we give people rides, and then we just charge them at the end of the month. So it's a big service to the city, and without increasing our fares, I don't think we can stay open.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else would like to speak in favor? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Right. You have any communications?
No.
Questions from the counselors? Counselor Benson?
Thank you. To the applicant,
Yes,
if
to
I
the
may, yes.
Yeah.
Do you offer a reduced rate? I know in the past you've offered a reduced rate to seniors.
Yeah, it's a 10% discount to seniors.
Okay, and that will continue. That's
Oh, yeah,
in
of course,
perpetuity.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? So I'm going to close the public hearing. Would you like to read the motion?
Sorry, Grace. Please note that the references to section 2575A4 prescribed was referenced in error, and a no vote was taken pertaining to that section. It will be amended as a friendly amendment when the committee recommendation is read. A separate vote is not needed for this friendly amendment. On a motion by Councilor Majota, seconded by Councilor Gross, the Ordinance and Administration Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to amend Chapter 25, Vehicles for Hire, Division 4, Taxi Cab Fares, Section 2575A1, prescribed in Section 2575A4, prescribed as follows. For the first flag drop, the rate is delete 450, add 475. And for each additional 1/7 mile or fraction thereof, the rate is delete 50 cents, add 75 cents. The weight and rate shall be $30 per hour. Fares shall be based upon a combination of mileage and time. Further, I make a friendly amendment to strike the reference to Section 2575A4 prescribed from the committee report as reference to the section was in error, and I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Nolan, seconded by Counselor Benson. Discussion. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0, 1 absent. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing 2026, number 15, petition to the City Council to accept and lay out a public way regarding Deacon Farm Lane.
And I will open this public hearing, and it will be continued until June 9th, 2026. Okay, and also the previous vote that we had, it does not go in effect for 31 days. So next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing 2026, number 16, SCP 2026, number 4, the application of Applied Materials Incorporated, Dory Road number 35, map 263, lot 30, GZO sections 1.10.1A1, miscellaneous special permits, 3.1.6B, building heights in excess of 35 feet for a building expansion in the Business Park District.
I'm going to open the public hearing. And speaking in favor, name.
Yeah, hi.
Do you need something to plug in?
Well, if it's available.
There should be a cord over there.
Right behind you. Pete, John, you're the tech guy, right? Who's in the AV club?
Great. Firstly, thank you so much for hearing us tonight. My name is Peter Glick, and I'm a civil engineer with SMMA. And with us tonight is John Goodwin, who is the project manager with Applied Materials, and also a colleague from SMMA, Dana Watts, who's a project director and architect for the project. I'd like to thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm going to try and share my screen, if that's okay with you folks.
Right into that microphone.
Yeah, hold on a second. We're almost there. We're in front of you tonight for a special permit pursuant to Ordinance 3.16 for building heights in excess of 3.2, which is 35 feet. Bear with me. We're the project we have in front of you for Applied Materials at their main campus and their main building on 35 Dory Road. And I think everybody's familiar with Applied Materials and formerly Varian Semiconductor there. And the building was built in 1978 is when Varian first built the building and built it in phases. And this new addition to the building is the largest project that Varian or Applied Materials has taken on since the conception of the building. They're very excited. It's a 3-story building addition that's going to house engineering and manufacturing and all the support functions for the manufacturing of the semiconductor tools that go in there. If you look over here, you can see the park, and the area in blue is the lot that Applied Materials currently owns around the lot, and within the Blackburn Industrial Park, the brown building addition wraps around the existing building, and it functions in conjunction with the existing building. That piece of the building that protrudes out there that the new building wraps around is a clean room in the existing building, clean room manufacturing for tools. And the intention is that floor there will line up with the floor of the proposed building addition. That middle floor that I'll discuss of these 3 levels is the manufacturing and fabrication part of the building addition. And it's critical that those align, those two buildings align. And why that's unique for this project is that that drives the elevation of the building floor below it, which is level 1, which is support systems for that second floor. And on top of that floor, the top floor, that's where there will be engineering services and stations, and where the engineers will have their offices that will be working down below as well. So they'll have places to go in the manufacturing. And that's where this three-level sandwich comes apart, and that's how it's driven at this building height. This is just a image of what the building will look like. Again, it wraps around the existing building. It's 3 levels. Dana will discuss the building in detail and the architecture of it. I just wanted to show a quick little visual of the building and tell you how we got the building height. Now, the building height was developed by, well, it's defined in the zoning bylaws as the existing grade at the corners of where the proposed building is going. So we calculated the existing grade of the ground around at each one of the corners of the existing building, and then we came up with an elevation of 160.17. And the proposed building elevation, again defined by the city bylaws, city definitions, is the top of the parapet of the building, and that's at 211. So that gives us a building height of 50.9 feet, which is above the allowable amount in this particular business park district, which is 40 feet. As far as other dimensional requirements and other zoning requirements, the plan meets all the other dimensional and required zoning items for the site as far as setbacks and the lot itself, a lot area there. This is the first floor, well, actually the level 1 of the building, and Dana is going to explain a little bit of what's happening in these additions, and again, the uniqueness of where that second level, which is manufacturing, needs to line up with that level in the existing building. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Council. As you can see on screen, and as Peter described, this is fundamentally the ground floor level. The grade of the site around the left-hand side and across the top is existing and will fundamentally remain without any great change. Dory Road actually comes into the site right at the upper left-hand corner of the building, and the site now currently splits with a driveway going down along the north side of the building to the visitor parking and employee parking, and then a roadway coming down the left-hand side of this building, which leads to the service area and the back of the campus. As Peter said, this floor is pretty much all utility-type services. There are 3 large areas: upper left corner, upper right corner, and center of the bottom leg of the L. These will be utilized by Applied as they're known as sub-fabrication areas. Basically, all of the tools that they manufacture that will be on the floor above require support equipment that in a normal semiconductor operation is usually put on a lower floor. So the whole idea here is to make this building, since a big portion of this building is customer demonstration, to make it look, feel, and operate like a traditional semiconductor fab, so that their customers can understand how the tools would work, what would be on the process floor actually making chips, what would be down below supporting that equipment. The several small rooms in and about the centers and around the edges are the building utility rooms, the main electric rooms, the emergency electric rooms, water service, chillers and for cooling and other mechanical and IT services down along the spine. This level will have an entrance for employees on the far left-hand side, about a third of the way down the left-hand side. There'll be a security station there to check people in, small lobby, 2 elevators, 3 stairs. Moving up to the process level, this is where their tools will actually be placed in clean rooms that, again, replicate or are very similar to what their customers use in the manufacturing process. So you can see 3 large areas. One is for demonstration of Applied's equipment to their customers. The one in the lower left-hand corner is for engineering, where Applied helps their customers to figure out different ways of using the tool in the manufacturing process, figure out continuous improvements that might be included in subsequent generations of the tool. And then in the upper right-hand corner is what is known as the applications lab. So all of the customer and testing of these tools, if they actually work on wafers, silicon wafers, and then those are taken to applications where it's actually verified that the tool is doing what it should be doing and doing what it was promised to do. And then finally, on the third level, this will be an office level for the engineers and the demonstration teams at Applied. The upper right-hand corner is a suite for the demonstration. That will be somewhat of a customer area. Customers will be brought in to actually witness tests and operations on the tool to make sure that they are actually doing what the customer wanted and what Applied said they could do. And then the other 2 zones are for the engineers and other facilities for people who are working on the floor below. Peter shared a rendering. These are just elevations of the building. The one at the top is the one facing north. Everything to the left-hand side is the existing building and the customer entrance, visitor entrance. So you can see, as Peter said, this building is actually a story above the existing. The one in the second one down is the west elevation along that drive, as I said, that goes to the service area. And the 2 kind of oddly shaped elevations are showing the building as it rises above the existing facility. And just a couple more images. The architecture that we've chosen for this project is fundamentally an insulated metal panel. It will have different coloration, different rhythm. We're offsetting that with windows at the office level and stair towers. On the upper image in the middle of the building, that's where the visitor entrance would be. And then again, down along the front, you can see the composition of the new addition with Applied's existing building and the visitor entrance. And I think that's it.
Anyone else like to speak in favor? Seeing none, anyone who would wish to speak in opposition? Nope. Do we have any communications, Madam Clerk?
No, we don't.
Questions from the councilors? I will close the public hearing. Councilor Grow.
On a motion of Councilor Benson, seconded by Councilor Kimberly, the Planning and Development Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that on the basis of the application submitted along with the plans and elevations dated April 8, 2026, 8 plans for 35 Dory Road titled Cover Sheet, Existing Conditions Plan, Layout and Materials Plan A101, A102, A103, A201, and A202, submitted to the clerk on April 8th, 2026, incorporated herein. City Council grant to Applied Materials Incorporated a special permit, Special Council Permit 2026-004, for the property located at Dory Road, number 35, Assessors Map 263, Lot 30, located in the Business Park Zoning District pursuant to the Gloucester Zoning Ordinance pursuant 3.1.6b, building heights in excess of 35 feet for number 35 Dory Road to maintain its existing height 50.9 feet to expand the current building. And I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Gross, seconded by Counselor Kimberly. Discussion
On the motion?
on the motion.
I just want to say that, obviously, this is a great addition to Applied Materials. It's a great addition to the city in the sense that we're getting an indication from Applied Materials that you intend to stay here, which is very important for a lot of reasons, but one of the facts is you're one of our biggest employers. You provide significantly to our tax base. Between this expansion and the coming expansion at 11 Dory Road, you're making an investment to stay in Gloucester, which I think is great news for us. Between you and Gorton's, we've got fish and chips all sorted out. I would just also like to make a quick point. You're gonna gavel me out. Is to appreciate Applied Materials as a corporate partner in the community and your willingness to be a part of the community. Some businesses move into a community or they're part of a community, but they're not part of the community. Applied Materials does that in spades, and I really appreciate that, and I will be supporting this application.
Anyone else? Counselor Benson.
Thank you. Not to repeat what has already been said, but I, again, really do appreciate this and am supportive of this, and I appreciate all the investment that you've given to this community, a commitment to this community, and hopefully the growth of this commitment. I'm reminded of a young, he's in high school now, he wants to go into engineering, and he was like, what jobs are going to be available if I want to come back to Gloucester after college? This is an opportunity, and I want to thank you for that.
I think it should also be noted that Applied Materials has also advanced from within. People who started at the ground floor have been moved steadily upwardly within their organization, which has really been helpful for our working force. So, would you like to call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Gross.
Yes.
Counselor Grow.
Yes.
Counselor Kimberly.
Yes.
Counselor Memhard.
Yes.
Counselor Page.
Yes.
Counselor Benson.
Aye.
Counselor Grace.
Aye.
The vote is 7 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 absent. The motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to keep you waiting, but
I warned you.
actually went quicker than I thought. Okay, next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing 2026, number 17, application for license pursuant to MGL Chapter 148, Section 56, and GCO Chapter 22, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Section 22-153, privately owned open-air parking space regarding Essex by the River LLC outdoor parking permit at Beachland Avenue, number 2.
Do we need to open a public hearing and refer it back?
Just make a
Because
motion.
it's been advertised, no? Okay, so this is going to be referred back for further review.
You need a motion for that?
No, I don't think so. Do we need a motion?
It can.
Move to
you have
refer
to.
back to
To P&D.
P&D for further review.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion to refer back to P&D by Counselor Gross, seconded by Counselor Kimberly. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 7-0, 2 absent. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Counselor's request to the mayor.
I didn't see it in the budget, but I would like to get a response on the issue of the veterans and senior tax rebate program. I know this will offer seniors and vets the opportunity to contribute to the community in exchange for tax abatement, and I think we really need to be tapping that as a resource for the community.
Councillor Kimberly.
I have none, thank you.
Councillor Memard.
Thank you. Two matters. The first, just members of Ward 1 and people passing through Ward 1 are aware that the city and National Grid are engaged in a extensive repaving process, which is causing a lot of disruption in the neighborhood. And it's scheduled to be wrapped up this week. And I appreciate everybody's forbearance with that, and we'll look forward to the new sidewalks, new roadways, all the improvements that this long-term investment in infrastructure has entailed, and we'll get it done before summer. The second point is simply to remind everyone that tomorrow we start our budget review session at 9 o'clock in the Harbor Master's office. Tomorrow we'll be reviewing inspectional services, licensing board, ZBA, police, parking, animal control, veteran services, city clerk, registration, city council, library, health department, human resources, workers' comp, unemployment, Medicare, purchasing, auditor, and IT. And then there'll be a subsequent full-day meeting the following Wednesday reviewing the other remaining departments' budgets. And I invite everyone to join us either online or in person at the Harbor Master's office to contribute to that discussion and review. Thank you.
Councillor Page.
Thank you. I'd like to bring to the attention, there has been an award, a grant award by NOAA through Northeast Regional Ocean Council to Town Green with the City of Gloucester for a nature-based, this is technical assistance grant for a nature-based solution for protecting Good Harbor Beach. I'd also like to find out from the administration when, I'd like to request when the administration signs letters of support for any kind of group or project or particularly grant money outside the city, that may come in front of the City Council just for information only. We don't have any knowledge of these actions. And I'd also like to ask, I don't know if this is a mayor's request or City Council President request, but I'd like to see if we could have the Good Harbor Conservancy and also CATS with Northeast Trail Works come and make presentations to the City Council. This evening, Good Harbor Beach Conservancy made a presentation to Open Space, and we have a lot of various groups that propose projects and work, and they don't come in front of the council. So just for more public information, a broader reach, I'd like to try to get those people forward and find out about their projects. Thank you.
Send me an email. Send me an email.
Send you an email?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, thank you. Sorry, Tom.
And CC Grace.
Sure.
Council Benton.
Thank you. I've sent all my requests to the administration, but since our last meeting, I want to thank the council president and Councilor Grove for attending the Burnham's Field meeting, where we had a lot of productive conversations with the neighborhood, and hopefully those are issues that the administration will be aware of and try to solve some of the concerns that the neighborhood has, and try to continue to activate this vital green space in our downtown. I also reiterate with Councilor Grow about our veterans and senior tax work-off program, something that we brought forward now almost 3 years ago. Let's do that. And I think just a reminder, as we get into the budget season, I'm reminded of the needs that we have. And I think we all need to be thinking about this, is we need to grow as a community. We need to economically grow. And we need to find ways to build more commercial space in this community, as we saw from the presentation from the DPW director saying only 2.5% growth. We are not growing as a community. and we are in real danger going forward beyond just this fiscal year, but beyond. And I think we all need to be thinking about what ways can we promote more growth, more businesses coming in for this community. Thank you.
Councilor Grace. Sorry, Marjorie.
No worries, thank you. Yeah, I just to reiterate what my colleagues have said, I just encourage people to pay attention and during this budget process. I know it's difficult for people to tune in during a workday, but all of this is recorded. You can watch the recordings at any point in time so that you can gain understanding and knowledge about how it all works. And I would also encourage people to communicate with your city councilors. We're not the enemy. Attacking people on social media does not solve anything. Communication, however, does. And we may not always have the answers that you're looking for, but we always do try. So thank you.
Councilor Groh would like to revisit his time.
Just for a quick second. I forgot to add, I just wanted to let the council know, Councilor Benson and I have been working with local liquor store owners about the issue of nips and nip pollution and the scourge of empty little bottles everywhere. We are having a meeting on May 20th, with them to talk about the option of them coming up with a solution to the problem as opposed to a potential overall ban of nip sales in the city. So we're hopeful on the 20th that we'll hear a feasible, sustainable, and viable solution to nip generated garbage throughout the city. So we'll bring you up to date after that meeting.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Could you say that in the microphone, please?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Groh, seconded by Councilor Page. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 7-0. 2 absent. Thank you very much.